hope all you swabbies are still awake. Late Night Mega here. We're back with 24th place. By Psych Lantern, it's Central Computer. Can we have a more generic name, please? Average score of 67.75. Once again, Freems is the one who did not like this one, but I was more in line with Freems' score than the others last time, so... where's this music from? Oh, it's Final Fantasy VII. I was gonna say, I knew it sounded familiar. What was down here that... There's nothing down here. I like how those guys are being used as kind of an obstacle enemy while you're trying to climb ladders. And we've got these ring platforms. I do like that gimmick. So let's see how they're going to be used. I don't care for that enemy because they're too beefy for what they are. Alright, so far everything is okay. Well, it was about to not be okay. I thought I could be sneaky and, like, quickly get up to the left, but apparently not. I'm pretty sure this is the final... Is it the final boss music in Final Fantasy VII? If not, it's like one of the Jenova fights. It's been a really long time since I played that game. And fun fact, since, you know, we have Final Fantasy VII music here, I guess we'll talk a little bit about Final Fantasy VII. It's a game that you are probably not going to see on my channel. It's not even on my list of, like, 80 games that I want to record. The reason being... I did not like the materia system, for starters, and everything just kind of felt like... I didn't like the story in the game past, like, Disc 2. Easy E, that I really didn't need. Just like I really didn't need to use Rush there. This is gonna be an issue. I can never predict when those things are going to drop bombs. We haven't hit a checkpoint yet, and you did that? Really? What was I supposed to do? I missed where I was supposed to go there. Like, where was I supposed to go? Anyways. I really didn't care for the story past, like, the start of Disc 2 in Final Fantasy VII. Parts of it started to get, like, kind of convoluted. Yeah, no, okay, like, where... Oh, I think I know what you want from me. Clever. Clever, okay. Right before the check. Okay. That was a cute puzzle. I would have appreciated its placement a little bit somewhere else in the stage, and maybe had more indication that we were going to have more puzzles like that. What is down here? I suppose I'm gonna need that. So, let's, of course. Goodbye. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the materia system because it kind of turns into one of those systems where, like, any character can learn to do anything as far as spell-wise goes, and there's really not much gameplay difference between the characters, other than, like, their limit breaks and that, but that's not enough of a difference for my tastes. I do like customization in RPGs, but I like it to be more limited customization. Ha! I handled that well. Oh. Not a problem. I do have to go down and drop this. And I drop that. It's another puzzle. I do like some of these puzzles we have here in this stage. I just wish I wish it would have been better indicated that this would be more of a puzzly sort of thing. I don't know how I got away with that one unscathed. Yeah, I can get away with that one. Alrighty. This could use more checkpoints. I like this. Just do that. Okay. I think the stage could benefit from more checkpoints. How did I get unscathed from that? Oh, we may never know. Nice use of these enemies, I will say. I will say the enemies have presented good challenges overall. That wasn't much of a challenge, but okay. Sheepman. Morning, pal. You probably know who I am, but the creator of the level wanted me to thank Coatless Carl, okay, for making an 8-bit version of Jenova, a theme from Final Fantasy VII. I was right about Jenova. Oh, this thing. You're weak to Spark Shot. You're also weak to just, you know, being blasted, but... We have nothing outside the usual here, but... I guess it's fine. I like this stage overall. I just kind of wish that the whole this was going to be a puzzle gimmick was more thrown at you and maybe had some more checkpoints, because it's not much fun repeating sections of this stage over and over to get back to the thing you don't like. Kind of like, you know, the girl who has her hand, like, above the forehead. Looks like she's, like, smacking him in the forehead or something. Maybe unintentionally. Anyways, judge comments. I just read this as Central Caterpillar. That would have been a far more amusing stage. Somebody make that stage. Honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed this level. The whole aesthetic works really well with the music, and it just feels really good. I feel like the difficulty of this one is on the higher side, but it's still reasonable and scales up while introducing everything properly. Honestly, I enjoyed that it was tricky, and that while the challenges usually look tough, they were still intuitive. Except the first time I went through the ring thing, and I was totally surprised and caught off guard. Like some of the really tight jumps from the ladders or the side with the spike blocks, they feel satisfying and keep the level consistently engaging. The level is really fun with a lot of unique setups, but it really just feels like it's lacking something, lacking a couple checkpoints. A few of the challenges, mainly the screen right before the first checkpoint, are just slightly unintuitive the first time, and the fact that you have to redo a whole section if you mess up isn't the greatest. Yeah, that exactly. Also, I like the challenge right before the boss gate, like, cool, Ringman platform challenge, but it being so late in the section with something that tricky where I think players may not get it wholly the first time just feels too unforgiving. You mean that the thing where you just you kill the enemy and then slide under that wasn't even much of a challenge. Am I missing something? Anyways, overall solid level. It could just be tweaked a bit. Some neat interactions with the skull cannons and ring platforms, yes, very much. That gave it a more puzzly approach. I do very appreciate that. Not much else to say, but there were some cheap shots with the rolling ball enemies above you, which could easily snipe you if you aren't careful. I didn't mind those as much. I am agreeing with MJack's fun score. Well, I guess there's a first or second time for everything. Where do you fall on the are video games art debate? Me personally, I'm sort of skeptical, but undeniably there's one big overlap between video games and all the visual arts. From painting to cinema to comic books. Why do you need to put this in here? That's the question of framing. Where do you place elements on your canvas for maximum clarity and visual impact? You did not need to say any of that, and you could have just gotten more to the point. I mention this because I think this level's problems don't stem from poor level design so much as they do from decent to great level design being marred by poor framing. You could have just said that and not said that whole first part. Consider the 8th and 9th screens of this level. Yeah, I'm going to go back and count the screens. Which have ringman bridges placed at the very, very bottom of the screen, with the spike pit below it stuck at the very top of the screen below it. Yeah, if I had seen that there was a spike pit there, you know, I could have thought to handle that differently, and that room could have been reworked. There's at least 32 pixels worth of headroom that could be shaved off these screens so that the elements that scream Death Pit are visible. Yes. This level is full of similarly subpar framing in which overly narrow corridors alternate with bits of overly generous headroom. And floors exist only in tiny little slivers. This gives the whole stage a claustrophobic vibe that really detracts from some of the fun setups contained within. And the level is fun, to be clear. I think you get a lot of mileage out of the gimmicks, the ringman bridges more so than the fork blocks, though I think the fork blocks were used decently well, especially that one screen where you just had a whole bunch of them, and we made it through. And a lot of the rooms contain fun puzzle platforming. The best of these is the first key room, which runs on a pair of intertwining cycles, but still gives you as much time as you need to figure out your game plan. I even like the boss fight with the Susie, which is as claustrophobic as the rest of the level, but in a good way. Still though, my main takeaway from this level is that it would be a little better if the screens adhere more to the conventions of how Mega Man lays out its screens, or the rule of thirds. Less Mr. Robot, more Super Fighting Robot, you dig? What do you mean less Mr. Robot, more Super Fighting Robot? You mean Super Fighting Robot like the fan game? Why are you referencing that? Speaking of framing, you need to work on reframing how you write judge comments. There are some decent puzzle setups throughout the level, but some are bogged down by inconsistent cutting wheel behaviors, After the first few are stationary, having one just land on you and pretty much guarantee a death if you don't know what's coming is very rude. How do you not know? Which ones do we not know are coming? You can see the spike wheel thing. Okay, maybe not all of them moved, but still, you should always be assuming if you see one on screen that it's going to move. And how do you, if you see it on screen, how do you not know what's coming? Incompetence. Some strange spike placements that certainly don't cause issues, but at the same time, I can't figure out why they're even here. And in a handful of cases, the Ringman bridge is acting inconsistent and sending me to a pit of spikes that needs a screen transition to get through for some reason. Well, that's not the Ringman platforms being inconsistent, that's just bad screen lay. MJack said that, well, MJack touched on that problem better, though needs help with the framing of the words and the wordy. Anyways, I'm also going to note how weirdly pointless the key door sections were. What? The first time was alright, but the second time it just made you backtrack through a very unremarkable room for some reason. Just a lot of strange decisions that hamper the quality of the level. I'd also cheese that room by using Rain Flush, but, you know, that's what special weapons do. Yeah, I agree with the good score ranges in this one, and I like the puzzle platformy bits. It would have been nice if I had realized it was going to be puzzly like that first where we had that one death, but, you know, we've talked about that. Up next, is that the Venus waterfall gimmick? It's hard to tell because all you see is that. I'm going to assume that's Venus waterfalls. I like Venus waterfalls. I'm not as big of a fan of the Concrete Man blocks. I know there's a couple neat things you can do with them as far as like launching some enemies that are on them or crushing enemies that are below them, you know, whatnot. But launching items up into the stratosphere, but I'm not a big fan of them. Anywho, we'll deal with that stage next time, so for now, I'll take my leave.